Welcome everyone to the RTV studios on the campus of Martinsville High School for another edition of Inside Martinsville Basketball here on the MHS Rewind YouTube channel and WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Kip Staggs. And Coach, again, thanks for joining us this week.
As always, it's a pleasure to be here.
We've got a lot to talk about here on this week's show. Martinsville with a couple of games last week. Big win on Thursday night over Speedway at home in the friendly confines of the John R. Wooden Gym. Then the Artesians go on the road at Terre Haute North on Saturday afternoon. Kind of a roller coaster game, a couple of runs from both ball clubs before North ends up pulling out the victory. And then this week coming up on Friday, big contest, Mid-State Conference Matchup, county rivalry. The Mooresville Pioneers come to town to battle the Martinsville Artesians. Up first, Coach, though, let's go back to Thursday night. You guys host a rare Thursday night contest against the Speedway Ball Club coming in that you knew you had to kind of concentrate on one player. He scored, but you did a good job limiting the rest. And you come out with a big victory, 69-57.
Well, I'm not sure we did a good job on him. He only had 29 against us. But, you know, he's a nice player and 6'5" and rangy. But as you mentioned, I mean, we were able to shut everybody else down for the most part. And I thought it was a pretty good game for us. It was a game where we saw some zone, saw a little bit of man. We had to play smart down the stretch, you know, in the last few possessions, last few minutes of the game. So I thought it was just a good win for us overall.
You get out to a 20-14 lead in that first quarter, kind of stretch it out to about 10-11 at the halftime break. Then comes that third quarter, that aforementioned zone you talk about. Kind of go to a little bit of a 1-2-2, a 3-2 zone against you guys, move it up a little bit. 5 minutes go by before you guys are able to find the basket, but to your credit, right the ship, hit big free throws down the stretch, and get the big win.
We did, and we were able to, you know, play the time sequence of the game at that time, and I thought that was very important. You know, we've got to learn how to play through that scenario. I thought we hit some big shots there in the third quarter, kind of get us going, keep us separated. And, you know, they're a well-coached team. I mean, Coach Bennett's been there for pushing 30 years now, and so he's been around the block a little bit. And so they were going to be tough and competitive like we expected. But to our guys' credit, I thought we played well enough to win. I didn't think we played great, but I thought we played well enough to win.
Hit big free throws down the stretch, 22 down the game for freshman Grady Gardner, 19 for Brody Staggs, 10 for Skylar Pruitt. The Artesians win. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the victory over Speedway.
So here you see, Will Baston pulls up and hits the three to start there on the left wing after a good penetrating drive and kick. And good to see Will get one to go down. There's Skylar with a little pull-up, and he's pretty good at that pull-up game. I think that's one of his strengths for our team and for himself. And then Brody gets loosed on the left wing, a little transition there for us, and we're able to get out and go in some. And then, here we're running a little sequence to our secondary break, and Grady finds himself, and you don't need to give him much space. He really looks for the basket and is positive in his confidence and knocks it down there again with a kick out from Caleb. And we just kind of played through some of this stretch. Here's Jack with a steal, I believe, and able to get it to Grady, and Grady able to score around the basket. And I thought that was Grady's best game of the year. I thought he was very efficient offensively and was able to he shot the ball, but he didn't shoot things that were not in the flow of what we were trying to do. There's a drive by Caleb, and then here's a drive by Will, who pulls up and knocks it down to get us to the end of the quarter. And then, here's Grady with a nice drive. And we've been talking to him a little bit about driving a little bit more, get to the foul line. And that's why his game on Thursday was probably the best game he's played so far. There's Caleb, makes a nice read on the pick and roll. Defense stays under, and he's able to stop and knock it down. And then here he is getting in the paint again and putting it in a basket. And as you see, we're kind of extending the lead right there. But to their credit, I mean, they cut it and got it within striking distance. And, here you see Skylar staying with an offensive rebound and putting it back in. And then near the end of the first half, Brody with a nice drive out of our chin look. And sometimes that's going to be open. And then they zone us to start that third quarter, as we talked about. And then Grady's a guy you want to make sure you guard him when he's on the perimeter. And then here we stay with it. And Jack's able to keep control of it and put it in another big basket for us. And as you see, it's 8, 10 points. Here's a nice transition basket from Brody to Grady to put it in for us. Here we're in that chin series again. Will sets a nice screen. Grady's able to capitalize on it, and that was really a big play for us down the stretch. Here they start to press us a little bit. We handle the press pretty good, and Brody's able to finish and score about the midway point through the fourth quarter. And, Brody really played well in the fourth quarter. I thought he handled the ball. He took care of some things, got us in the right position. Here he makes a nice pass to Reese. He makes some nice free throws down the stretch as well. And here's a nice backdoor cut by Grady. Will reads him pretty well, and we're able to capitalize on that pressure, those guys getting in the lane defensively. Here's Brody on the drive, and again, they've got to stay out to take care of Grady on that drive. Brody's able to read it and finish as well with his left hand. So, we made some nice plays. It was one of those games where, you couldn't blow them out. We couldn't put them away. But I was very pleased with our poise throughout the game.
Able to get the victory over Speedway. Then you have the Friday off, a Saturday afternoon contest at Terre Haute North. You travel over to battle the Patriots, and this is a game where Terre Haute gets off to a good start. You guys kind of battle your way back. Terre Haute runs out again. You guys battle your way back there late. Have a couple of possessions where you get to the bucket, can't hit some layups. Northville ends up with a win, 58-51.
Yeah, we didn't play very well in the first quarter. We got down 17-7, and I just didn't think on either end of the floor we were whether it was mentally or physically into it, however you want to describe it. And they hit a couple shots there, which I thought were defensive mistakes on our part. And then offensively, we just did some real silly things. I mean, we turned it over where, I'm not sure, I knew what we were looking for and or what we were looking at. But we got off to a poor start, kind of carried over into the second quarter. But I thought in the third quarter, I thought we came out with some great energy. We really, we went from 10, 12-point game, all of a sudden it was 5, 7-point game. And we were able to battle ourselves back. And then, as you mentioned, they kicked it back up. But to our credit, Will Baston gets a steal, Skylar Pruitt gets a steal, both of them finish. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves down 5, and about a minute and a half to go. We run a little out-of-bounds play underneath our basket. Caleb gets it, makes a nice move. Thought he got fouled, didn't get the call. Regardless, they go down and hit, and now all of a sudden it's 7. So that game got flipped pretty quick on us right there. But, it was just the start of the game, and we can kind of look at some, missed layups there at the end. I think we missed 3 of them right through that stretch. And but during that stretch, if we do what we need to do in the first half or play better in the first quarter, those layups don't seem to be as significant.
That game, we talked about it last week a little bit, the fact that it is a little bit odd, that combination that Thursday and that Saturday afternoon, but the fact that, hey, if you get to a regional, you get to a semi-state, you're going to play that afternoon type game, so that gives you that look. But it is hard for high school kids to come in on a Saturday and get on the bus and travel an hour and 15 minutes and then get off the bus and play, but things that you can look at them as excuses or learning experience, however you want to, but it was a factor, I think, in the way that the start gets off for you guys on that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it just put us in a bad spot to carry out the rest of the game, and so that was probably the disappointing part of that day. There were some positives there. I thought Brody played well again. I thought he gave us a lift down the stretch. I thought Will getting in the passing lanes, getting a steal in the layup was good. I thought Skylar getting in the passing lane, getting a steal late was good. Those guys have got to do that kind of stuff on a more consistent basis. And, we've played probably 24 to 28 minutes of a game here and there. We've got to get to the point where we're playing 32. And, we've got 5 games left here and to rectify that.
5 games left to kind of do that. You got a game coming up this Friday night, also on Saturday as well against Northview. We forgot to mention that in the open. That'll be on the road. But you got the Friday game. That's usually the focus of the week, and it's a Mid-State Conference matchup, and it's a county rivalry, and it's a potential sectional opponent as well. There's a lot involved as Mooresville comes to town on Friday night.
Well, they're a good basketball team. They've got, Patterson who can post, he can score, he can rebound it. He's kind of he brings the ball up the floor, passes it, and gets down in the post. they got a couple other kids that can really shoot it. Defer's really shooting the ball well. He had 6 threes against Mount Vernon on Tuesday night. Had 29 against Terre Haute South earlier in the year. So he can really score the ball, so we'll have to find him. And then they got some other nice pieces. Denny, who's an IU baseball commit, just happens to come in off the bench. And I know when he was a sophomore, freshman, he hit 6 or 7 threes in a game, so he's more than capable of knocking shots down. So they are a very well, very good team in the sense that they all have guys that can shoot it. They all got guys that can score it. And, they'll pretty much they played man-to-man most of the year. So that's what we can kind of look for.
Offensively, kind of like what do we expect to see out of them? It used to be when I had Coach Carter there for a long time. You always knew every week what you were going to come in, but new head coach them for his second year. What are you seeing out of them that they like to do offensively?
Well, they're going to drop Patterson in the post, and that puts a lot of pressure on your defense because he can score around the basket. And, he made 2 threes against Mount Vernon on Tuesday. I think those are the first 2 threes he's probably made all year. If not, he's maybe made one other. And so, he puts a lot of pressure on defenses inside, and then it forces you to make a decision. And then 10 can really shoot it outside. I mean, he can really knock some shots down. And they've got some other guys that can make shots too. And so you got to kind of pick your poison a little bit, how you want to guard Patterson inside, how you want to deal with their perimeter shooters. And so they spread you out a little bit. But we've been working on some of those things this week, and I think we'll be more than ready. They will push the ball in transition. Patterson's a guy that'll get it off the glass and he'll just take it. And he's capable. He's a good, strong kid, athletic, and we all know him from football as their quarterback. So, he has a competitive spirit about him, which is pretty good. And so, we'll have to bring a good game for him.
Kind of guy that makes it go for the Mooresville Pioneers is Patterson, and it's, like you said, you're going to have to be ready for the Pioneers. What are some of the things that you guys are going to have to do well to come away with a victory on Friday night?
Well, they've got 3 guys that average 13 points a game, and then Patterson averages 9 rebounds a game. Another guy averages 4 rebounds a game, and so first of all, we're going to have to take care of Patterson and make sure we have a good defensive effort on him. We've got to make sure we have a good defensive effort on Defer on the perimeter, and we're going to have to stay even on the boards. We're not a team that's out rebounded anybody all year, but if we can stay even or relatively close, that gives us a chance there. So, I think those are 2 or 3 keys. We've got to make sure that those 2 players don't have career nights, and then we stay even on the board. And I think from an offensive standpoint, we've got to be a little more fluid in what we're doing. We've got to make the extra pass. We've got to make sure that we sprint the floor on offense and look for our own transition baskets. I think, we've not got to the foul line as much as we needed to here recently, and we've got to make it. We got to make it to where the official calls it, but we need some transition baskets too. So we need those easy points. Our points right now are coming from half-court sets, grinded out, maybe pull-up jumpers, maybe a drive or something like that, maybe a kick-out 3. We got to find more ways to manufacture points, and I think the free throw line as well as transition are going to be important for that.
Mooresville, the opponent, coming up on Friday night in a Mid-State Conference game, and then you go on the road to a former Martinsville players' home, Northview Knights, and battle the Knights on Saturday.
Well, they're tough to beat it over there. I mean, we've gone over there several years, and Mike Byram is a former Martinsville player and alum, and he's the head coach there, and he's done a nice job. I think he's in his 5th or 6th year there, and he had a really good run last year. They've got a player named Cook that's an outstanding player. I think we had 3 or 4 different guys try to guard him last year, and he still found a way to score the ball in the first half. And so, they center everything around him. They've got some young kids that they're trying to play, some freshmen, a few sophomores. So they've got some young guys that try to sprinkle around Cook. But, it's always a tough place to play over there in Northview.
Big weekend coming up for you guys as you wrap up this final third of your season, if you will.
Absolutely. I mean, Mooresville's conference game, Northview used to be a sectional opponent. Yep. And so these are 2 games that can really help us get ready for that tournament run. And we've got to start fine-tuning a few things. We've got to start making our reads in Chin a little bit better. We've got to start making our reads in Princeton a little bit better. And, we're not an A to B to C type of team altogether. We're an A to B, read what you do for C, maybe go to D, maybe go to E. So, we've got some options. We've got some flexibility for our players. They've got to see it. They got to look for it. and that's where we're at right now. We got to kind of fine-tune some of those things.
Try to fine-tune them coming up this weekend, Mooresville and Northview. Good luck, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you there on Friday night as well. Martinsville battling the Mooresville Pioneers on Friday is a Mid-State Conference matchup, county rivalry, potential sectional matchup, like we said. Get out there to the gym, help support the Artesians. If you can't make it, though, you can tune into the live stream on the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach, Kip Staggs, for coming in. For Coach Staggs, along with Bo Dilley and Nate Long, who helped produce it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Martinsville Basketball.